Hello, this is Brigitte, and I'm sitting next to Conor. Conor,
Yeah.
hello.
Hi, I'm Conor. Hi.
We just met today, but Conor sounded like a very, very interesting person. So, like in a almost like an executive summary, could you give us a quick overview of who you are, what your background is, and ultimately what your purpose is?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm sort of on a mission to help people transform their lives quickly, in effective ways in three main areas. One is health, one is wealth, and one is happiness. So that's kind of what I'm spending all my time doing at the moment.
Okay.
It's my life work, I love it. I do one-to-one consultations with people, and I host events that bring people together to meet fascinating people who can accelerate people's growth and transformation. Yeah, we do amazing things. We sort of help people recover from illness and live healthier, longer lives. So I'm really interested in longevity. We help people earn money quicker in ethical ways that can then help them live bigger lives and help other people. And we help people have more fun, have greater joy and happiness in the things that they do from day to day, and give them sort of ideas about what they could do to improve their happiness. And everything's like very person specific, so we're all different, all have different backgrounds. So it's not one size fits all, but yeah,
Okay.
that's what I do. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. And so, as the last bit of the executive summary, where can they find more information?
So I've got a website, conorpatterson.com. It's CONOR, and it's PATTERSON, and that's live from the 1st of September of 2026. There's also a Satori event.eu, which is SATORI event.eu, which lists all of our free online events that you can join. There's paid talks in Ditchling. We've got an event in London on February the 6th in Victoria, which has got an 86-year-old nutritionist, Barbara Wren, presenting on how you can help your cells use biophotons more successfully, so you can decrease the chances of getting ill, you can increase vitality, and you can extend your lifespan. There's also a 77-year-old presenting there who's a psycho-neuroimmunologist, and she's teaching how to access a quantum field to improve your immune system and stay healthy. And I'm speaking, and there's a few other speakers, so it's going to be an amazing day. So yeah, people are welcome to that as well. We have retreats coming up in Cyprus for people who want to dive deep into it. There's one in June next year on natural longevity, one in May on business and wealth, and one in October on life purpose. So we kind of, we've got a series of events that we think will be very successful and help people
Yes.
transform quickly. And yeah, if people want to find out more, they can call me, no charge, and talk about it as well. So yeah.
That sounds amazing. So that's the executive summary. And for people that have a longer attention span, I'd love to go down the rabbit hole a little bit and kind of get to know the person behind it. And how did you come to this? Because most people don't just say, okay, I'm going to do this now. There's usually a super interesting individual story behind that.
Yeah.
So what is your story?
Well, I think I have to start with my parents. My parents were both independent thinkers, so they always taught me not to believe what I was told. So from a young age, I was fascinated by religion and science and the way institutions work. When I was 15, I had a very, very strong mushroom trip with my friend. We just were told about magic mushrooms, didn't know anything about them, went out into a field and found them and picked them. That had a huge effect on my perception of reality, because I was basically propelled into a new dimension of experience, but that stayed as a new dimension of thinking afterwards. So my brain operated differently. I'm also an advanced graduate in the Silver technique, which is a form of meditation that helps you access the genius parts of your brain as well. So I've always, from a young age, kind of been surrounded by debate and controversy in the intellectual field, which led me to believe that anything's possible and not to believe everything that you're told. So to form an independent opinion takes a lot of evidence then. So I've always been really curious. I've travelled extensively. I've met with spiritual teachers, I met with wealth creation, multimillionaires teaching business, and I've met with elderly people who are living full, highly energetic, like, you know, full capacity of creativity well into their 80s and 90s, and I've spoken with them and tried to deduce as best I can how these people manage to do that, and how other people can replicate that in their own way, not in their way, but in their own way, and what are the things that we need to look out for to live longer, happier, healthier lives. And it's as close to a science as I can get, you know, because it's based on evidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
I totally, it resonates so much with me, because I also have that, I guess, what people perceive as a duality, science and spiritual, but more and more it seems like there's a wave of similar people that are meeting up. Do you think it's a coincidence, or do you think there's something bigger that's making these things happen?
Yeah, I think it's definitely science and spiritual philosophy are coming together and drawing the same conclusions, probably for the first time. I think that's largely, you know, because of people like Max Planck and quantum physics catching up with what people have been doing for centuries and knew evidentially worked, but didn't have any sort of theories to explain it. We have a very intuitive part of our brain on the right side of our brain that just trusts our instincts, and we know that something's true because we've seen it happen, and that's enough. But our left side of our brain wants explanations, it wants science, it wants data, it wants some sort of logic to support that, otherwise it's a bit shaky. And I think that's a bit that science can help with, just calm it all down and give it the food it needs to say, okay, I'm not going to interfere with your trusting your intuition anymore. And we're highly intuitive creatures, but we've been basically seduced by needing data in order to support our instincts and trust. And unfortunately, a lot of the data out there is, as we know, fabricated for profit or for control, and so it's not actually based on any evidence, it's based on propaganda. So then we're fed the wrong information into our left brain, and then we doubt our intuition. And that's basically, you know, what I'm teaching in my courses is how to come back to that instinct so that you can live your own life again. You know, you know who you are, and you know what you want to do, and you become a happy person then.
Okay.
In that place.
So in practice, how do you do that? How often do you follow your intuition? Is it all the time? Can you just trust it? Does it come easy to you? Do you have to work at it? How does it work?
I think it's like art, you know, like we all have the capacity to create art, but we get more confident in that capacity the more we do it. So I think we all have innate intuition, we all have innate psychic ability, and the level to which we trust that is down to our own confidence, and that comes with experience of just doing it, seeing the results are good, and then a little bit more trust is generated. So I think we're all born with it innately. We're kind of sent a little bit off centre. I think a lot of that is to do with the school being largely a sort of left brain teaching system, where we're basically taught that you need data, you need to stop using your body, you need to forget that your body's involved. So you sit down, you don't drink when you're thirsty, you don't eat when you're hungry, you don't go to the toilet when you need to go to the toilet, you just sit down and you feed the left brain lots of information. And that is a huge process very early on in life, and it's a 10-year, 12-year, 15-year, if people go to university and do long degrees, it can be a 20-year process that then needs to be unwound. And there's various ways of doing that. Meditation is a good way, psychedelics are a good way if it's done in a responsible way with knowledgeable people in the right setting. There's lots of different therapies that are aimed at helping people come back to that, but really the best way that I found is to just be as still as I can, be in touch with my body as much as I can, and listen to what the signals are there. You know, there's signs all around us waiting to be read, but our body picks them up, and we can feel it somewhere in our body that it's right. But if we try to think it before we believe it, then we lose that moment. So sometimes we just have to read the body and not try to explain it with logic, and just let that bit settle down. You know, and we can feed it later on. You know, if we have to do something, we can do like a crossword or you know, something if we're that desperate to have some logic in our lives. You know, but it's a rebalancing because we've had so much logic and, you know, left brain activity. Then we kind of do need to spend a bit more time just, you know, meditating or doing something where we can let our minds go. You know, like something like loving sexuality is a good way of doing that. Being out in nature, having any form of exercise, whether it's solo like swimming or team sports. All of those things help the logical mind just to be suspended and put on the shelf for a little bit, while the sort of more instinctive right brain part of ourselves can be expressive. And then we kind of get a bit more balance there.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm gonna do a little curveball because a question popped up and I just need to ask it. So I do lots of different things, but acupuncture is one of them. And I've often wondered how 3,000 years ago they were able to measure or determine those channels. And since you were talking about being aware of your body, do you think it's to the extent that once we get totally in touch with our body, do you think that we will feel those energy meridians again? Do you think we will feel our organs again? Do you think that's one of those innate capabilities that lives in people?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think the sensitivity to our body is something that definitely grows with practice. So we lost connection with our body through the practice. Which I don't mean to be down on modern education because there's good bits to it, but sitting still for long periods of time for children is, you know, is causing all sorts of problems. And one of the biggest problems is the negation of the felt body, like the somatic sense of what's actually happening in my body right now. And the more distant we get from it, the more those neural pathways that inform us what's happening in our body, like they atrophy. So we need to rebuild them by paying attention to the body and listening to it and doing what the body wants, which means going to bed when we're tired. So, you know, like how many people do that? You know, and things like, you know, not drinking coffee is a simple thing because that's your body's telling you you're tired, you need to sleep or rest, and coffee basically overrides that hormone that's telling us that that's what needs to happen. You know, just the same with anything that's designed to like give us more, you know, false energy. You know, simple things like if we're thirsty, then drinking, but not drinking because we think we should be drinking. Oh, how many liters should I be drinking? But just drinking when our body tells us to. All of these things regrow neural pathways in our brain that put us more in touch with our body, and that's where intuition lies, and that's where we become more knowledgeable about who we really are, what we're meant to be doing here, and it puts us more back in the plane of animals, you know. So animals haven't got as much logic as humans, so they don't go off base as much with their bodies. In terms of knowing actual, you know, organs, I do feel some of my organs, but I wonder how much of that's supported by the fact I've done anatomy and physiology as a study, so I know where they are, I can give them names, and I think that can be useful as well. So that's where the left brain supporting right brain intuition, you know, it's not just a hindrance, it's actually can be an informer to the process as well. But yeah, I don't know about the meridians, whether I would ever know where they are, you know, whether I'd ever feel them.
But that's a very good comment that you just made, because it's probably where your focus has been, like on the anatomy organ part, that's probably where you feel that intuition first. And if it was from a different, like from the meridian perspective, maybe that's where you would feel it first. I think that's really beautiful, because I think one of the mistakes we make as humans is we always go from one to the other. You know, oh, left is bad, right is good, or vice versa. But it's that balance, right, that we should be aiming for.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, we've been given all of these gifts, you know, and they've been given for a reason, because they're positive influences in our lives. Like, we haven't been ever given anything that's bad for us. So yeah, for sure, it's the interplay between the left and right brain,
Yes.
and growing the corpus callosum, which is the interface between the left and right brain,
Okay.
is an actual physical event that happens when we use our right and left brain simultaneously to do events. So if we do something instinctively while at the same time knowing why we're doing it, like as in the logical part, our corpus callosum grows, and that allows more neural pathways between the left and right sides of the brain. So that's all shown in brain science now. We're starting to understand why it's so important to kind of use both parts of our brain. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I know we're both probably a bit melting here, so I will end it with one last question, and it could be a deep one. Do you feel like you have realized your own purpose in life, and like, is this the end of your journey? Is it evolving? What is purpose to you? So it's a big question rolled into one.
Yeah, well, to answer the first question, I do feel like I've discovered my true life purpose. It's more a start than an end, because I think all the trial and errors of leading up to that was all valuable and part of the journey, so I don't regret any of it. But it does feel like a beginning, like the start of a more joyous life for me, because I think before I really understood what I was meant to be doing here, there was always a part of me that was feeling kind of a bit lost and a bit confused. What should I be doing with my time? What should I be doing with my money? What should I be doing with my energy and creativity? And it was all a little bit, not very focused. And there was times where it worked really well, and I get this flourishing of feeling like really highly energized and happy about life. And then there'd be other times where it felt like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I'd feel really flat and a bit down about it. So now we're spending nearly all my time in that flourishing state, where I just feel like, I know what my life's about. I know how to live a happy, healthy, wealthy life, and this is where I'm meant to be. I still have moments where I'm like, this isn't exactly right. And also I think that's part of life, and the gift that we get is not everything is just one way, otherwise we have no contrast with which to really experience or appreciate it. So I don't expect challenges to disappear completely from my life. I just expect that my response to those challenges will be more intelligent, more joyful over time, as I learn to not get thrown off by them.
That is fantastic. Thank you. And I think a lot of people will relate to that. So anyone that is feeling confused, but that has seen those glimmers of purpose in their lives, and I think there's a lot of people like that, they can go back to the beginning and then check your website. I will also, of course, post a link on the web page and on the YouTube page. Thank you very much, Conor.
Great. Thanks, Bridget.